what we call Samanavrat. Samanavrat is described in the third canto of Srimad Bhagavatam by Kardama Muni and Devahuti. Kardama Muni and Devahuti. That's there, and also in reference to, yes, and in reference to the Dhritarashtra and Gandhari. So when Gandhari was introduced to Dhritarashtra, she was mortified. Obviously, my husband's blind. She was a beautiful young woman, and my husband's blind. But because of her culture and because of the great wisdom of the Arya race, she immediately performed a Samanavrat. Samanavrat means that she would not allow herself, even though she was more capable than her husband, she would not allow herself to feel superior to him. And this is the quality of a chaste wife. It's very hard to do it because we're Kali Yuga entities. We're not from the previous yugas, so our ahankara is a lot more out of control here. So, but what she did, she blinded herself immediately, and that was blinded for life. Now, just imagine the austerity she performed. She can see, but in order to not be seen, not to think herself, Sochara, not to think herself to be better than her husband or higher than him, and also not to be seen by others to be better than her husband. She performed Samanavrat by tying her eyes and not being able to see. So she was equally as blind as Dhritarashtra. And she is famed, she is very famous as the most chaste woman in history for this one great sacrifice she made. So when the time came to protect her son, she knew that she had so much power from this austerity. Every day, blinding herself. Every day. So when the time came, she released that tejas, and she just gave it all to her son. And he stood in front. She said, "Come before me, but come before me naked." And of course he's thinking, "Oh, Mom, I'm a man. I'm a grown man here. I can't come before you naked, So he thought, well, maybe I should. So he went away. But then Krishna, of course, Krishna said, "Hey, I hear that you're going to be doing a bit of, something funny here going on, something strange." So he's doing, well, my mother wants me, she wants to protect me. He said, well, you should be a little bit respectful to her. Cover some areas, for goodness sake. Be a little bit, civil about this. So Krishna, in his own wonderful way, he convinced Duryodhana to cover the thigh area here, where it's the private areas are there. So he came before his mother, and then she took off the binding, and she saw his body, and she put her powerful tejas, drishti tejas, on him. And she looked and she saw that he's covered there, and she knew this is the most vulnerable area, because Bhima has already vowed, when you slapped your thigh and showed your thigh to Draupadi in her very difficult time, when she was being stripped naked, when he showed his thigh, Bhima threatened, he promised, he vowed, "I will smash that thigh to pieces." And that very thigh now is covered. I cannot protect your thigh, and I cannot protect you now. So she broke down into tears and fell on the floor crying. She knew her son was finished. So Duryodhana thought, well, I'm very powerful now. I'll be okay. Don't worry, Mom. I'll be all right. But of course, we know the story. So when Bhima and Duryodhana, he was dancing and he was wielding, and Bhima, of course, is very powerful, and he had the strength to keep up with him, but sooner or later, so there would have to be some give somewhere. So the talent of Duryodhana was so great, but at one point Duryodhana jumped up very high, and he was just about to make a move, and Bhima saw his thigh exposed. And he knew this was against the rule. You only hit above, like in boxing. You know, they have the belt here. So you can only hit above. But he hit bang on the thigh and smashed his thigh. Shri Bhima ki. Yeah. Duryodhana fell down, broken. He was broken. And Balaram, when he saw this, he was furious. And his eyes, as we know, Balaram's eyes got redder and redder and redder. And his face is very fair. So he was like, he was going to kill him. And Krishna said, no. He said, you must remember that Bhima has made a vow to Draupadi. He's made a vow to the Devas. He's made a great vow that one day he will break the thigh of Duryodhana. And therefore you must allow him to fulfill this vow. So then Balaram, he backed off and he said, okay, I accept, but this is wrong, and Bhima will be known as a crooked fighter. So anyway, Balaram was prevented from killing Bhima. So at this point I wanted to ask you a question now. We were talking about Balaram with using his hala, his plough as a weapon. So does anybody remember any times when Balaram was using his plough as a weapon?
When he dragged Hastinapur?
No, yeah, well, yes, that was as a threatener. Yeah, that was like in a threatening pose, yeah. Well, yes, we know that Balaramji, when Krishna and Balaram, he came to Hastinapur, and they wanted the Kurus who had kidnapped, they had arrested Samba. They had arrested Samba because Samba, Krishna's son, who was born from, who's Krishna's son born from? Jambavati. So Samba was born from Jambavati, the first son. And Samba. So Samba is born from Jambavati. I'm not having a problem. Old age doesn't come along. Sorry. Big problem there. Alright, so Samba, does anybody can remind me a little bit of what happened here? I know that he was married, there was some relationship going on. Samba, he had married, Lakshmana, he had kidnapped Lakshmana? He had kidnapped Lakshmana. Lakshmana was the daughter of Duryodhana. Oh. So Krishna's son has now run off. And now with Lakshmana, and which was allowed, Kshatriyas were allowed certain weddings and certain Gandharvika, Rakshasa weddings, etc. So they were very angry and they arrested him. So Krishna came there, Balaram came. Balaram actually came and he said, look, I want you to release him immediately. But they said, no way, we're not going to. So then Balaram took his plough and said, I'm going to drag, if you don't release Samba, I will drag your whole city into the river Jamuna and I'll destroy your whole city. And of course, Duryodhana, he had so much arrogance. He was thinking he was just threatening, it was just words. But then Balaram took his plough and stuck it in the ground and started to drag, and there was an earthquake going on there. And he was dragging the city, and the city started to move by his mystic potency. And in this way, they immediately desisted and said, okay, we surrender Balaram. We'll give you Samba back. So in short, they give Samba back. And then the wedding went on and everything was very nice. So that's one instance. Abridged, extreme abridgment there.